What kind of life did Rakhal live with the master? In the first period of their association, he behaved just like a little boy. Looking back on those early days, Sri Ramakrishna used to say, I would play with Rakhal and feed him as if he were a child of 3 or 4. You see, when these great ones come down to the earthly plane, they establish between themselves and some of their disciples a close human relationship through which the disciples thrive. If you look upon someone as your very own, as close to you as your father or mother, then you feel free with him. And if that person is an illumined soul, think how easy it will be for you to approach him and ask him blessings and instructions. Sri Ramakrishna had this human relationship of father or mother or a friend with many of his disciples, but he looked upon Rakhal particularly as a child. One day, when someone criticized Rakhal, the master said, Don't find fault with him, he is only a little boy. If you squeeze his throat, his mother's milk will come out of his mouth. It was a strange thing, this childlike nature of the boy Rakhal. It persisted even after he had become Swami Brahmananda. In fact, it persisted all his life. After he had been with the master for some time, he evidently received instruction in religious practices from him. We have few records of him in those days, but we know that Sri Ramakrishna gave him a mantra and an Ishta. Yet, even though Rakhal undertook various spiritual practices, it is certain that he did not have to achieve spiritual knowledge through his own effort alone. One incident in this connection was related by Swami Brahmananda himself in later years. An unwanted thought had come into his mind while he was meditating, and in disgust he got up to leave the temple. Sri Ramakrishna met him and said, I see an obstacle on your path. He told him to put out his tongue, and he scribbled something on it with his finger. At once the disciple was free from that disturbing thought. Another time, Rakhal came to Sri Ramakrishna and said, Sir, I meditate, but I don't get anywhere. The master said, Why not? I shall show you. Go to the temple. So Rakhal sat for meditation facing the entrance of the temple of Kali. Soon he saw a great light coming from the image of the Divine Mother and almost engulfing him. He was so afraid that he got up and ran to Sri Ramakrishna's room. There now, the master said, you tell me you don't get anything out of the meditation, but when you do get something, you run away. Well, by and by, he began to have higher and higher experiences, and soon he became accustomed to those things. He made quick progress, that even during the lifetime of the master, he attained a very high degree of spiritual realization. Even at the outset, soon after his coming to the Kineshwar, he began to experience the exalted state of the soul known as bhava or ecstasy. Actually, bhava is a kind of samadhi in which there is so much emotion, so much joy and love that those who experience it cannot contain themselves. In less than a year after coming to the master, Rakhal experienced bhava at least twice. One day in Sri Ramakrishna's room at the Kineshwar, while he was massaging the master's feet and listening to a scholar expounding the Srimad Bhagavatam, he lost external consciousness. Later, Sri Ramakrishna used to point out the spot where his beloved disciple had been sitting. He would say, Here Rakhal first experienced ecstasy. The second such experience came in the Calcutta house of the great devotee Balram Bose, whom the master often visited. It was a festive occasion and everyone had been inspired with divine favor by the master's joyous singing and dancing. Rakhal could not remain sitting upright, but, forgetting everything, lay stretched on the floor in bhava. The master, as was his custom, placed his hand on Rakhal's chest, saying, Peace, be still, and restored him to outer consciousness.